You have to make a decision today, a decision that you're going to focus on you until you win. And I don't mean some shallow, surface level self-love kind of focus. I'm not talking about bubble baths and affirmations while your life is falling apart behind the scenes. I'm talking about the kind of focus that builds empires, the kind of focus that sharpens you like a weapon, the kind of focus that separates you from mediocrity. If you want to win in life, in business, in health, in relationships, whatever your arena is, you've got to understand this truthful until you prioritize yourself, your vision, your goals, your mission. Nobody else will. See, most people are busy focusing on things they can't control. They're scrolling on social media, comparing themselves to people who don't even know they exist. They're busy giving their energy to gossip, distractions, petty drama, and chasing things that don't add value. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. But you're not stuck. You're distracted. And when you're distracted, you can't be effective. You can't be powerful. You can't be impactful. Winning requires obsession. Winning requires clarity. Winning requires commitment. And none of that is possible without focus. Not the kind of focus that lasts for 30 minutes on a Monday morning while you're sipping coffee and writing goals you're never going to revisit. I'm talking about tunnel vision. I'm talking about saying no to everything and everyone that doesn't align with your assignment. I'm talking about waking up with a sense of purpose that scares your comfort zone to death. But let me tell you why most people don't win. It's not because they aren't smart. It's not because they don't have potential. It's not even because they lack opportunity. Most people don't win because they never learned how to focus on themselves as it helps us. They've been trained to give to everybody else, solve everybody else's problems, and put their dreams on the back burner. They've been conditioned to believe that self-prioritization is selfish, but it's not selfish to focus on you. It's necessary as it helps us. Because if you don't win, you can't help anybody else win. You can't pour from an empty cup. It helps. You can't teach others to do what you haven't done. And you can't lead anyone where you haven't gone. So stop apologizing for going into isolation. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. Stop apologizing for turning down invitations, cutting off date, and elevating your standards. You're not being rude. You're being responsible. And the most responsible thing you can do is commit to your own growth. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you become when the distractions are gone? Who do you become when the noise fades and it's just you, your thoughts, your purpose, and your God-given vision? Do you know? Most people have never met that version of themselves because they've never given themselves the gift of focus. They've always been too busy managing everyone else's chaos, being everything to everyone, and nothing to themselves. But you're about to change the game. You're about to unlock the version of you that's been buried under years of people pleasing, over giving, and under living. You're about to focus like your life depends on it, because it does. When you focus on you, something powerful happens. You stop playing small. You stop making excuses. You stop settling for average. You start showing up differently. You start demanding more from yourself and from others. You start walking like you know who you are. You start thinking like a winner, acting like a winner, and ultimately winning like one. Because here's the truth. The inner game creates the outer results. It's not what you do. It's who you become while doing it. That's why you can't fake success. You can't fake mastery. You can't fake transformation. You either become it or you don't. And becoming requires focus. Focus on your habits. Focus on your mindset. Focus on your energy. Focus on your discipline. Focus on your vision. Focus on your identity. Because if your identity doesn't match your destiny, your actions will always sabotage your results. See, success isn't something you chase. Success is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who creates success. And becoming is an inside job. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can hand it to you. Nobody can make you want it. You have to want it so bad that distractions disgust you. You have to want it so bad that excuses make you nauseous. You have to want it so bad that sleep feels like a distraction and comfort feels like a trap. But let's be clear, this isn't about burnout. This isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. This is about alignment. When you are aligned with your purpose, focused on your growth, committed to your vision, burnout doesn't exist. You get tired, sure, but you don't burn out because you're lit by something internal. And that fire doesn't die out just because you're a little exhausted. It's a holy fire. It's a mission. It's divine. You've got to stop treating your life like a side hustle. This is your one shot. This is not a dress rehearsal. Stop waiting for someone to come along and motivate you. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for applause, permission, or validation. This is not a conference call. It's a calling. And nobody else has your assignment. So guess what? Nobody else can tell you how to run your race. Focus on you. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you've got work to do. Because you've got something in you that this world needs. And as long as you keep watering everybody else's garden and leaving yours dry, you'll always feel unfulfilled. You'll always wonder what could have been. You'll always carry the weight of unused potential. And I promise you, there is no heavier burden than the burden of knowing you could have, but didn't. You could have started that business. You could have written that book. You could have broken that cycle. You could have transformed your body. You could have rebuilt your life. You could have stepped into the highest version of yourself. But instead, you waited. You hesitated. You played small. And I don't know about you, but I'm not available for that life. I'm not available for mediocrity. I'm not available for regret. I'm only available for growth, progress, impact, excellence, and expansion. That's the standard now. That's the bar. And anything beneath that. I'm not entertaining it. So no, I'm not coming to the party. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not scrolling for hours. I'm not explaining myself to people who don't understand the assignment. I'm not trying to fit into rooms I've outgrown. I'm not begging for opportunities that belong to someone else. I'm not looking to be liked. I'm looking to be legendary. And that requires focus. Focus is how you reclaim your power. And focus is how you get your time back. Focus is how you multiply your money, protect your peace, and design a life that matches your purpose. Focus is how you make the shift from reactive to intentional. Focus is how you tap into overflow, into momentum, into abundance. Focus is how you win. And let me tell you something, once you get a taste of what it feels like to win, you won't want anything else. You won't want the distractions, the drama, the chaos. You'll crave clarity, you'll crave peace. You'll crave strategy as it helps us. You'll crave results. You'll crave God's voice more than the world's noise. But you won't get there by being casual. You won't get there by multitasking. You won't get there by splitting your energy between things that don't matter. You'll get there when you lock in. When you say, this is the season where I make it happen. This is the season where I go all in. This is the season where I choose me. Not because I'm selfish, but because I'm strategic, because I know that a better me is the best thing I can offer to the world. So be bold about your focus. Be unapologetic about your transformation. Be intentional about your energy. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting to be great. You don't owe anyone an apology for evolving. You don't owe anyone comfort at the expense of your calling. Your life is your responsibility. Your vision is your responsibility. Your healing, your growth, your success, it's all your responsibility. Own it. Because when you decide to focus on you until you win, everything starts to change. The doors that were closed start to open. The people who left get replaced by the ones who are meant to go the distance. The confusion gets replaced by clarity. The chaos gets replaced by strategy. The fear gets replaced by power. And the doubt gets replaced by unshakable confidence. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you did. You've been walking through life with too many open tabs in your mind. Too many conversations that don't concern you. Too many opinions that don't pay you. Too many relationships that don't grow you. It's time to close the browser. Shut it down. Eliminate the clutter. Simplify the equation. You are the assignment. You are the project. You are the breakthrough. You are the one. You see, the moment you decide to truly focus on yourself, everything around you will either evolve or exit. People will feel the shift, and some won't like it. Some will accuse you of being distant. They'll say you've changed. They'll ask why you don't come around like you used to. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You're supposed to change. Growth demands it. Evolution requires it. And you can't become who you're destined to be while staying who you used to be. You have to be willing to let go of the version of yourself that made everybody else comfortable. Because that version of you, that was the compromise. That was the diluted edition. That was the play nice, stay small, don't ruffle feathers version. And that version doesn't win. That version survives, but never thrives. That version keeps the peace, but never breaks the cycle. That version plays not to lose, but never plays to win. So the world's not going to understand your focus at first. That's okay. You're not building for now. You're building for next. You're not focused on applause. You're focused on alignment. You're not chasing attention. You're chasing assignment. And there's a difference. See, people who want attention look busy. People who want results get busy. They do the work. They show up. They invest. They execute. They eliminate distractions, not just delay them. They master the mundane. They keep promises to themselves because that's what winners do. And I want you to hear me clearly. There is no success without self-discipline. None. If you want to win, you can't keep doing what feels good. You've got to do what's necessary. The problem is, most people want convenience over commitment. They want comfort over calling. They want the crown, but they don't want the cross, as it helps us. But listen, if you're really about winning, you've got to be willing to do what others won't, so you can live how others can't. You've got to be willing to say, while you party, I'm preparing. While you sleep, I'm studying. While you coast, I'm climbing. While you wish, I work. There's nothing casual about greatness. It's costly. It costs you old habits. It costs you your comfort zone. It costs you being liked by everybody. It costs you being understood by people who have no vision. And the question is, are you willing to pay that price? Because you'll never rise above the level of your personal development. You'll never create more than you can contain. And you'll never be able to hold what your character can't support. That's why focus is critical. It sharpens you. It cleans out the weak parts of you. It removes the inconsistencies. It strips away the layers of insecurity, fear, laziness, and pride. And that process isn't comfortable. It's not glamorous. Nobody's posting about it. But it's where the real work happens, in the dark, in the silence, in the moments where nobody's clapping and nobody's watching and nobody's affirming you. But you still show up. You still push. You still grind. You still build. You still believe. Because that's what it takes to win. You've got to believe before the results show up. You've got to speak life before you see life. You've got to act like it's already yours. Because spiritually it is. The promises were made. The vision was given. But the manifestation depends on your focus. God doesn't bless confusion. He doesn't bless disorder. He blesses preparation, structure, excellence, and clarity. He blesses those who honor the gift by becoming good stewards of it. So ask yourself, are you stewarding your potential well? Or are you squandering it in places you were never called to be with people who were never assigned to your destiny? Are you multiplying the gift or just maintaining it? Because maintaining is the enemy of multiplication. And you weren't called to maintain. You were called to multiply. You were called to take what's inside you and release it into the earth as something powerful, something meaningful, something that transforms lives and shifts generations. But that won't happen until you stop looking around and start looking within. Everything you need is already in you. The answers are in you. The resources are in you. The strategy is in you as it helps us. But you'll never access it while your attention is fragmented. You'll never unlock it while your eyes are on everyone else's lane. You'll never release it while you're still seeking validation from people who haven't even validated themselves. The real you is waiting on the focused you to show up. The version of you that doesn't compromise. The version of you that moves in silence and builds in peace. The version of you that knows the difference between busy and effective, between movement and momentum, between activity and achievement. That version is available the moment you decide to stop trying to be everything to everybody. And finally, be everything you were created to be. You can't afford to be average. You can't afford to play small. You can't afford to keep pushing your goals into next year. You don't have time to waste. You've got generations depending on your focus. You've got doors waiting on your discipline. You've got wealth waiting on your wisdom. You've got freedom waiting on your faith. And every day you delay, the world is delayed from experiencing the gift you carry. This is why you've got to treat your time like it's sacred. Because it is. You can't be available for everything and still expect to accomplish something extraordinary. You can't be emotionally entangled in nonsense and still have clarity for your calling. You can't be everywhere and still move forward. You've got to decide. Decide that you're unavailable for distractions. You're unavailable for pettiness. Unavailable for anything that doesn't produce growth, power, or progress. You were born to dominate, not to dabble. You were born to lead, not to linger. You were born to influence, not to imitate. But you can't operate at that level without mastery. And mastery doesn't happen by accident. Mastery is born in the laboratory of focus. It's born when you say no to 99 things so you can say yes to one. It's born when you take the same boring, simple actions every single day until those actions become a force that nothing can stop. This is not about hype. It's about habits. It's not about motivation. It's about momentum. It's not about inspiration. It's about instruction. And instruction says, if you want to win, you have to become a person worthy of winning. You have to carry the identity of a champion. because outcomes don't lie. If you're not winning yet, it's not because you're cursed. It's because you're distracted. Focus fixes that. Every great person you admire got there by doing one with insane focus for a long period of time. They weren't smarter than you. They weren't more talented, but they were more locked in. They stayed in their lane. They did the work. They paid the price. And the same is available to you if you'll stop flirting with focus and start committing to it. That means you don't chase every opportunity. You don't pivot every 5 minutes. You don't start something new every time you get bored. You don't let feelings run your future. You make a decision, and then you honor that decision with your habits. You back it up with execution. You protect it with your time. You nurture it with your energy. And you scale it with your discipline. So, what do you need to eliminate? What do you need to cut off, shut down, or walk away from in order to create space for your next level? Because you can't get to your next while still clinging to your now. Something has to go. Something to die. Something has to shift. That might be a mindset. That might be a relationship. That might be a routine. But until you make the cut, you'll keep missing the call. You were created to create. You were formed to fulfill a purpose. And you don't need another course, another coach, another conference to begin. What you need is to decide. Decide to lock in. Decide to go all in. Decide that enough is enough. No more delay. No more distraction. No more excuses. From this point forward, you move with vision. You move with purpose. You move with fire in your belly and destiny in your mouth. You walk like you're chosen. You speak like you're anointed. You live like you're already crowned. Because the truth is the crown is already yours. You just haven't grown into it yet. And focus is the tool that stretches you into royalty. Focus is the gatekeeper to your throne. Focus is what separates dreamers from dominators, talkers from transformers, wanderers from warriors. And if you're tired of wandering, tired of repeating cycles, tired of living beneath your potential, then you know what time it is. It's time to focus on you until you win. When you decide to focus on you until you win, you become a problem for mediocrity. You become a disruption to average thinking. You start to confuse people who are comfortable with excuses and allergic to excellence. You stop fitting into rooms you used to be in because your mindset no longer blends in with the background. You no longer need their approval because you've become your own validation. You no longer need to be invited to their table because you're building one that feeds generations. Winners move different. They think different. They don't need noise to feel seen. They don't need applause to feel worthy. They don't wait on conditions to be perfect because they understand the conditions will never be perfect. Waiting on the right time is how people forfeit divine timing. Let me tell you, there's no such thing as the perfect moment. The only thing that matters is movement. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And watch God multiply what you move. Your job is not to perform for people. Your job is to become the version of yourself who can handle what you're asking for. Can you handle increase without it breaking your character? Can you handle visibility without becoming addicted to validation? Can you handle authority without abusing the influence? Can you handle open doors without forgetting who opened them? That's what focus does. It prepares you for what you prayed for. Because everybody wants to win, but not everybody wants to become a person worthy of winning. Focus is the furnace that forges champions. It burns off the parts of you that can't go to the next level. It doesn't just teach you what to pursue. It teaches you what to ignore. As it helps us, You learn to stop giving energy to things that aren't growing you. You learn that your peace is more important than being right. You learn that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every voice is yours to entertain. Not every invitation is worth accepting. You become surgical with your energy, intentional with your time, strategic with your words. Because now you're not living from survival, you're living from assignment. And if you're serious about winning, you've got to treat your life like it matters. Stop playing with your potential. Stop negotiating with your destiny. Stop looking for shortcuts. Shortcuts are for people who don't want the weight of greatness. But you're different. You're not here to settle. You're here to multiply. You're here to turn every ounce of pain into purpose, every disappointment into development, every failure into fuel, as it helps us. You're here to show the world what happens when someone finally decides to focus on themselves until they win. And when I say focus on you, I don't mean become selfish. I mean become responsible. Responsible for your words, responsible for your energy, responsible for your finances, responsible for your health, responsible for your emotions, responsible for the assignment that was placed in your hands. That's what it means to grow, to get serious, to mature, because the next level is not waiting on a better opportunity. It's waiting on a better you. So the question is, what are you building right now? Are you building something that will outlast you? Are you building habits that match your destiny? Are you building systems that support your next season? Or are you still chasing instant gratification, still scrolling endlessly, still wasting hours in comparison, still reacting instead of responding, still operating from emotion instead of principle? Let me tell you, emotions lie. Discipline tells the truth. You don't win by being motivated. You win by being committed. Motivation fades, feelings fluctuate, but commitment keeps showing up even when nobody's watching. Commitment keeps pushing even when the excitement is gone. Commitment says, I don't care what it feels like, I'm still doing what I said I would do. That's where the growth happens. That's where the power is, in the follow-through. Everybody starts, few finish. But finishing is where the favor is, as it helps us. There's a different level of confidence that hits you when you know you've followed through on what you said. You start to walk different, talk different, move different. Not because of what's in your bank account, but because of what's in your character. You become undeniable, not because people like you, but because you've become unshakable. And when you're focused, you stop apologizing for being focused. You stop explaining your discipline to undisciplined people. You stop making excuses for your standards. You stop shrinking your voice to make others comfortable because you know where you're going. You know what you're building. And you understand that destiny doesn't accommodate comfort. It demands clarity, demands boundaries. It demands separation. It demands sacrifice. That's why people will leave. Let them. That's why certain things will no longer satisfy you. Release them. That's why some seasons will feel lonely. Embrace them. Isolation is often preparation. And many times when God is about to elevate you, he'll first separate you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You're not being cut off. You're being cultivated because you can't hear your calling in the crowd. You can't discover your voice in a room full of noise. You can't create legacy when you're addicted to likes. You don't need everybody to understand. You just need to obey. Move forward in silence. Work in the dark. Let the results be the announcement. You don't have to convince anybody of your greatness. Just become it. You don't have to beg anyone to support you. Just build it. You don't need to clap back. Just climb higher. Because when you win, everybody sees. When you rise, everybody watches. When you become undeniable, even your critics become your commercial. But you don't get there by accident. You get there by focusing on you ruthlessly, consistently, unapologetically, until you win. You show up when it's hard. You stay when it's boring. You invest when it's inconvenient. You work when others sleep. You pray when others panic. You sow when others doubt. You speak when others quit. You believe when others run. You stay planted long enough to produce fruit, even when there's no applause and no confirmation. Because focus is not about being seen. It's about being sent. And you've been sent. Sent to break cycles. Sent to shift atmospheres. Sent to walk in divine purpose. Sent to multiply what the world told you would never amount to anything. Sent to show what happens when someone gets focused on what God put in them, not what life threw at them. So stop being impressed by distractions. Stop being seduced by mediocrity. Stop being loyal to limitations. You don't need another chance. You need another level of focus. Focus is free, but it's not cheap. It will cost you popularity. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you your old identity. But what you get in return is priceless. Freedom, power, peace, progress, legacy. That's why the world can't afford for you to stay distracted. You're carrying something that this generation needs. You're carrying answers. You're carrying blueprints. You're carrying books, businesses, ministries, inventions, healing, transformation. But none of it will manifest if you keep feeding your fears instead of feeding your faith. None of it will emerge if you keep allowing your attention to be hijacked by what's urgent instead of what's important. Every day is an opportunity. Every moment is a seed. And how you focus will determine what grows. If you focus on problems, you'll get more problems. If you focus on possibilities, you'll unlock solutions. If you focus on criticism, you'll shrink. If you focus on calling, you'll soar. What you look at determines what you live in. So if you want to change your life, you've got to change your focus. Winners don't chase trends, they create them. They don't conform to the noise, they move in the silence. They don't wait for approval. They move with authority because they understand when you focus on yourself with discipline, direction, and divine intent, you don't just change your life. You change your lineage. So ask yourself, what are you passing on? What are you multiplying? What are you building that your children's children will be proud of? What kind of name are you writing in the earth? What kind of legacy are you going to leave? Not just in the bank, but in the spirit. You can't build legacy distracted. You can't create change unfocused. You can't walk in overflow while living in confusion. You've got to lock in. Let the world be loud, you be clear. Let the world chase clout, you chase purpose. Let the world scroll in circles, you walk in power. Let the world waste time, you own yours. And when the noise gets loud, when the pressure gets heavy, when the voices tell you it's not working, keep building, sowing, keep believing, keep becoming. Don't get tired in the process. Don't give up in the proving ground. Don't quit just because it hasn't shown up yet. Delay is not denial. Silence is not rejection. Closed doors are not punishment, they're protection. Because focus knows anything worth building takes time. Anything worth carrying takes maturity. Anything worth having takes discipline. So show up different, move different, think different, speak different. Become unrecognizable to the version of you that used to settle. Let people say you changed. Let people say you're too focused now, that you're too intense, that you're too serious, that you don't come around anymore. Good? That's the point. You didn't come to blend in. You came to break out. You came to win. And now is the time, not someday, not when things calm down, not when people finally support you, not when you feel more ready. Now, destiny doesn't wait on comfort. It answers to courage. And focus is how courage manifests. Focus is how faith grows legs. Focus is how purpose results. Focus is how winners are made. So now the choice is in your hands. You can keep giving your energy to distractions, doubts, and delay. Or you can decide right here and right now that you're done living beneath your calling. You can decide that from this moment forward, you're going to focus on you until you win. You're going to wake up every day and show up for the vision God placed inside you. You're going to stop explaining, stop apologizing, stop negotiating with small thinking, and start moving like someone who was created to make impact. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for more signs. You've already got the confirmation. You're still breathing. That means you've still got purpose. That means your race isn't finished. That means there's still a victory with your name on it. Focus on you until you win, because the world needs the version of you that refuses to quit. The version of you that walks in authority. The version of you that shows what happens when someone becomes completely, radically, and relentlessly committed to becoming who they were born to be. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your future. You owe it to every generation coming behind you. Lock in, tune out the noise, and rise up. Focus on you until you win.